Are we good to go? When I get the point.
Yep. All right, we are live, and the New York Mets are still in first place in the National League.
And still
first place in the National League. The New York Metropolitans, I know things are not going great on the West Coast. The last two nights. Obviously, we had some fun the 2 nights before. We've been bludgeoned, literally and figuratively, by the Padres and their group of small, awful fans that I absolutely despise. I don't know where this came from. But nonetheless, everything's going to be all right. Why is everything going to be all right? Because we're going to chill out with the Blue Mountains of Coors Light, the beer that is there for these rough patches on the West Coast, all the way to the parade, which is still scheduled for November 2nd in the Canyon of Heroes. It's cold lagered, it's cold filtered, and it can be delivered straight to your door using Drizly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/believe. CoorsLight.com/believe. Why, Kev? Because we believe in this team. This team is good. This team is different. You got to believe. We end every episode with that. So we're going to start every episode with a nice cold Coors Light because they sponsor the show. They help us out. They get us through the tough times, and we love them. And when we're down in the Canyon of Heroes, hugging, drenched in ticker tape, we're going to celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And, Kev, we're also going to pop a Coors Light because we are 9 subscribers away from 3,000.
free t-shirt merch giveaway. If you get 9 friends to sign up right now and subscribe, you get a free. We'll pick a random subscriber to get some free merch. We gotta believe t-shirt of your choosing, whatever you want. So tell your friends and sign up to subscribe if you haven't. Use your Gmail, log in. And I said this is our first Mets Fans Anonymous meeting because I think we need it. I think. We've been on the verge a couple times, but I've always bounced back and never had any sort of losing streak. Not that we're on one now, but the nature of the last 2 games between just getting our asses kicked and some of the injuries, I feel like it's, Panic City is coming out to play and the sky is falling. First of all, I need to apologize. The hat is back on.
Oh, yeah.
The West Coast kind of fucks me up because it's like, I'm not going to sit in my house at fucking, 1 a.m. wearing this hat, but I should be because the hat has been part of the juju, part of the magic. The hat is back in action. I also got to tip my cap to Padres have, just beat the shit out of us. Mm-hmm. And it's not even, we still got one. It's not in terms of Mets life, we're still not even talking about being swept. But those 2 games were just an ass kicking. Straight up, which oddly, and you can call this a spin zone if you want, but oddly makes me feel better. Kind of the same way we lost the Dodgers games where our bats just went to sleep. In this case, like, there are going to be games over the course of 162 where you just get fucking whooped. And it happened. And I'm happy, that it was against a good team because, if it was the Reds doing it to you, you feel like it's a real wasted opportunity. Padres were going to be a hard series anyway. The fact that our once or twice a month fucking ass kicking happened now. I'm okay with it happening to a good team. I'm okay with it happening during our West Coast stretch when it's late night and we don't have to suffer through it, as much unless you're one of the sickos who's staying up for all these games. I'll be honest, I don't care at all about the results of those games. The minute that Pete got hurt and the minute that Marte was hobbling, I was holding my breath and scared for the rest of the season. And so, the next games after that, I genuinely, I don't care. If there's ever a time to get your ass kicked and there's ever a time to rest some of your players who are getting dinged up, it's right now when you have, had an 8.5 game lead. I don't know about you guys. I wish and I pray, I hoped for a 2006 scenario where we come back and we never look back. But with the defending champs in your division, and that lineup with the Phillies is good enough that, and the baseball season's so long that they can start to rattle off some wins. By no means did I expect to maintain an 8.5 game lead from here on out. So I know there are going to be people who start to freak the fuck out when, that might get cut down to 4.5. But that's how this is going to go. Baseball's too long. There's too much talent jammed in that division. And the Mets are this team that, in a bizarre way, because they've been so good and they're at the top of the National League, people seem to forget that they're missing Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer. They seem to forget now that, we're going to go through some injuries here. It's not all going to be easy. So just remember that here as we sit in our Mets Fans Anonymous therapy session. If you think the sky is falling, losses have to happen. Injuries are going to happen. You're not going to just cruise your way to the playoffs. Nobody expected to even be in this position, so you can't act like, oh my God, this is terrible, because you probably would have signed. If I told you to start the season that we would be one game out by this point in the year, would you have signed for it?
100%. Yeah.
Right? And now we're 8.5, 7.5, or whatever it is now, up. We're still in a position that nobody expected to be in. So cool out, and I'll make sure I get my hat back on.
Well, the fact that we're more than a series length away, too, like, that's always in my head of, if you have one bad series and you're within 3 games, you can just lose it that quickly. Where it is like now, that's why those 2 sweeps before we went out here were huge, because the other 2 are now doing what we did. And it's like, that's the reason why you go get fat on the shitty teams, because if you're playing the good teams, it's just natural that the other teams in your division are probably going to be playing the shitty ones. And that's how it goes.
Also, we lost a series. It's like, we're talking like we got swept for an entire week or something. You lost a series. And yes, enduring a 13-2 blowout is shitty. But at the end of the day, they're all just L's in the scorebook. So whatever, man, wash those away. We lost 2 out of 3. You bounce back and win at least 2 out of 3 with Anaheim, and all is well. And that's what this team has done all season, right? They've bounced back every single time. So I'm hoping and expecting that happens with Anaheim. But again, for the foreseeable, few games, I'm not even worried about the outcomes. I am worried about this team staying healthy, being healthy. I don't want them to, now is the time to rest guys if they need it. If Marte needs a trip to the IL, just fucking do it. Mm-hmm. I don't need a hero on my team. I don't need guys. We've seen that in the past. I remember Beltran was so adamant about never saying he's injured because he wants to be the $100 and whatever million man, and he always wants to play, and he wants to be, an Iron Man, and doesn't want to give excuses. And it's not an excuse. If you hurt, you hurt. It's bad timing, good timing, whatever. You hurt. Now is the time to sit down guys if they need it. Now, I'm not saying, you should send them just, willy-nilly for fun. But if it's like, I can tough it out, I'll be all right. And next thing you know, now you're on the 30-day DL. It's stupid. So I just hope they play this all smart. And I think they will, because Buck is at the helm. And when the fans are always overreacting, it's Buck and the boys who are like, it's all right. We lost a couple games. Calm down.
Yeah. And like you said, too, like Starling Marte, of all people, guy has had injury issues a ton, and he's so reliant on his legs, which him not out in that outfield, it's like now I get the feelings like it's like almost like Conforto's back out there.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's like you don't have the guy with the wheels and that arm, and it's just that is out there. And then obviously he's your 2-hitter that makes things happen. Just let him sit it out. Good. Like I'm happy with Marte and Pete, where like Nimmo, I feel like might keep trying to come back because he's doing the contract. Right? Where Marte just got paid. He's not going to look to, push it in a contract year. I always think like that as a fan. But all that combined then with Bassett looking like shit for another night. But like you said, the Padres are a good fucking team. And for everyone crying about injuries, the Mets were outscored 20-2 their last 2 games. Those are 2 losses. That's like the fucking battle, though. You lost a couple of battles. The war of not losing Pete and Marte like immediately, like month or, weeks at a time. That's almost as much of a W as the fucking first game that we won where we beat the fucking piss out of the Padres. And if you don't think
that them not scoring runs and there being no offense isn't a byproduct of the fact that those 2 guys got hurt. They got hurt in the first inning of the first game. From that point forward, the fans weren't in it. They weren't in it. Everyone's like, oh, fuck, did our season just get ruined? And then they had to wait 24 hours. They didn't find out whether or not they were healthy or not until right before the second game. it's just a natural thing. Like if there's drama in our office, everybody's talking about it. Is anybody really focused on doing their job? No. And like that's the whole thing. And then you get up there and Mania is fucking dealing, and then you're like, well, this game's a loss too. It is what it is. But
I hate to say it, and I can't, you can't get inside the minds of anybody. What I've loved about this team is they don't ever pack it in. They take every inning, every game, every at bat seriously. That's how you're able to come back from 7 runs down and do what they do. I think over the course of 162, several times a year, the guys are like, I don't know, fuck it. You know what I mean? And you don't want that, and they rarely ever do it. But you at least kind of get the vibes of that a little bit on this. Like once it went south, it went south. As long as things over the long haul are good. But again, to be 3-4 on the West Coast right now, again, would you have signed for that right now? If I told you after the Dodgers and Padres, you'd have 3 wins, we would have absolutely signed for that. Yep. So keep that in mind as we roll to Anaheim, because if we bounce back a little bit on Anaheim and some guys prove that they're healthy, all will be well. Everything will be okay.
And we just hit 3,002. We're getting the going. If you got guys, get those subscriptions in. Yeah, do the little dance.
Yeah, let's go. I know what you meant. I was like 3,000 what?
We got 3,000 subscribers.
Let's get it.
Get your subscriptions in now before we draw for the t-shirt. So hit the subscribe button. Just switch accounts to your other Gmail. You can just keep subscribing. As long as you can get the Gmail, you'll get the t-shirt sent to you if you win.
Can we reward for the people who are watching live? They're obviously our most diehard fans. Can we pick from this bunch somehow? Can you scroll through a list of viewers right now and just pick one, Kyle? Or Pavs? Is that
Pavs question?
I can't see it right now.
We'll figure out if that's.
I could look through the comments. So if you drop a comment,
so leave a comment now. If we'll reward the people who are most active and most engaging. So drop a comment, maybe leave a question, funny joke, something that stands out, whatever. We'll pick it randomly, or if any of you, if something really jumps out at Pavs as funny or a poignant thought or whatever, this is your chance to win some free Gotta Believe merch for the 3,000 subscriber mark. We're doing, we'll get back to the Mets in a second, but just talking about the podcast, we were putting in so much effort to this show. And for me, it's actually pretty cool to go back to like square one on something and build it from the ground up. We've been doing it the past couple of years, but it's basically been me and Clem like hopping on Zoom, and banging these things out and just posting them immediately. And this is the first year that we've had the full producer squad together, the social media team. And we're humming, man. We're putting up numbers that, the other baseball shows at Barstool that preceded us are on that same level. So shout out to all the Mets fans and the listeners of this show, because I believe we're cementing ourselves kind of as the must watch and go to Mets content. So thank you to all those guys.
Shout out to everyone. And this is the good old days. This is just the beginning, everyone. So this is our the infrastructure's built now. And now we fucking grow
now
it
it's time to rock. Yeah.
The show, the team, whatever.
Yeah. You know what? The last few years under the Wilpons reign, we were bringing some people up. We were getting some players. We were establishing some things. And then with Pavs, Kyle, and Meek and Nick coming together, that was like the Cohen sale. Now we had the power behind us. So thanks to you guys for making this happen.
A sincere thank you too, because if everyone can hear, there's a little extra life in our voice that wouldn't have been here this morning. We all told Kyle, I think in like the 3rd, 4th inning last night, we're like, Kyle, you're on mop up duty. Kyle was already running on the treadmill like the sick son of a bitch he is. I'm not going to blame him for the absolute beatdown that occurred, 13-2 or whatever, because he did have a shutout the week before. We cannot forget that against the Nats. Kyle, tell us anything from the game that we missed. All I know is Chris Bassett got his dick kicked in. That's the only thing I tell you. This is, like he says, the worst stretch he's had in his career, which is a little concerning. I was going to blame it on the catchers, but I saw he got hit with McCann a couple times as well, so I can't just say it's a McCann thing.
No, this is on Bassett, and it is. I am a little bit nervous about it. I think his quote was like, "I've never gone through a stretch like this."
Yeah.
So while that might be comforting that it's a little bit of a fluke, it also might be concerning that maybe it's not a fluke and this is a new reality for him. But whatever it is, I would really like one good Bassett start to kind of stop the bleeding and give us some faith here.
He looks different than when he was with Oakland. Like even when he had like his good starts, it hasn't seemed crisp. There's always that one inning where you're like, oh, what the fuck was that? Like
he battles a lot,
a lazy off speed pitch, whatever it was. Yeah. But like his brutal honesty is exactly what we've been asking for, though. Like hats off to him to do it, but you need to pitch better. But he was like, I'm extremely embarrassed by like the fact that I keep leaving the bullpen out to dry. He's like, I'm just wasting the bullpen every time I start. And it's like, yeah, dude, you are. So figure it out.
But I appreciate the honesty. I do feel like if this goes a couple games more, we might have to work on some PR because you can't just go up there every time and be like, I suck. Because that's also not helping the cause. Or, the opponents are licking their chops when they see you. That's why I just, you just need one where he bounces back. I've always really appreciated how much he grinds. Like it's never, 7 innings, 90 pitches, it's always, even his good starts are like 105 over 5 2/3 or something. But I like that when he's in trouble and when the defense lets him down, he like still can get through it. But that you're playing with fire, you're flying close to the sun when you're doing that type of shit. And then you run into some bats that are going to make those mistakes, fly over the fucking wall. And this is the results. But, we've been so lucky with starters. And I think part of it is talent as well. Guys like McGill and people showing up being like, no, I'm actually a good pitcher. But if we do see the regression, we saw some with Ty Walker, if we see some with Bassett, it could get a little dicey because the cavalry's still few weeks away. Several weeks away. Maybe maybe infinity weeks away. You know me.
Oh, God.
Well, the good thing for Bassett is his next start is versus the Brewers, who also aren't a good lineup. So you can at least that's a decent soft spot for him to land back on.
Is that they are?
Brewers have lost 7 of their last 8. They are not a good team right now themselves. So.
I mean, I never know. How do you guys feel when you run into a team who's lost, 12 in a row, like the Angels, or I don't know what they did last night, but or the Brewers coming up that are 7 of 8? Are you thinking, well, we're about to tack on 3 more, or are you thinking naturally this will be the time they bust back out?
I've been rooting for the Angels every single game since like I started the story, and I'm just like, just at least get the first win, so it's not like, oh, we lost to the team on the 15-game losing streak. But that's how I've been dealing with it, and same kind of with the Brewers. The Brewers are also, who did they lose to? They lost to the Phillies, right? And it's like, beat the goddamn Phillies, and then if we play you guys, I don't want you guys to be, 10 of 11 at that point, and then you guys are ready to crank it up against us. Also with the Angels is Trout has been day-to-day too. Right. And I'm like, Mike, take it easy.
Yes, please. I want the Angels to continue to bat Juan Lagar's 5th. Just do that the whole weekend, please.
Dude, is that what's going on there?
Oh. Yes. Dude, so they lost again last night, so that's what?
14 in a row.
And they got Ohtani tonight, who we miss, and he can potentially stop the bleeding tonight against the Red Sox.
I said it to Clem when I logged on. You have to root for them because once you get to 15 in a row and then you're coming into town, you just know the other shoe's dropping. Like there's no way that they just continue to lose if they're quote unquote this first place contending team. Like that is a lot.
It's straight up fucking mathematics. It's like you can't lose forever. But I don't know. Again, I always try to put my brain inside of other teams. If you were on a 10-game losing streak and you saw the Dodgers up next, you'd be like, "Fuck, this ain't stopping anytime soon." So it's like, is it going to be new Mets or old Mets? We've seen some flashes of old Mets with bad luck and some bad play. I'm hoping if we're at full strength and in our mind, in our world, losing 2 out of 3 right now feels like we need to bounce back.
Yes. And
look, I lost 3 in a row, so it's like, well, you guys feel like you can't keep losing forever. In the Mets world, this is losing forever right now. So
yeah, and yesterday I just took the Alonso and Marte news as the win. What happened in the game last night is pretty much relevant.
Is that like official too? Like we're not doing any IL. That's not in the cards.
Pete said it's going to be a day or two. Marte himself said no, he's not going on the IL. So I'll take it from the players themselves that they're confident.
Now they're not playing though. They're not playing today because we're off. I think that helps. No, right. I'm saying like, and obviously we haven't put out lineups, but have they said like, their day to day?
Marte's day to day, I think. I don't know if he's gonna be in the line Friday, but
right.
Well, we also
I just feel like we're gonna be, the bench is gonna be thin. I just don't want to be stupid about it. It's just, you know what I mean?
a thin bench when you have a DH, at least it's manageable. We used to have a short bench without a DH. We'd have like Zach Wheeler pinch hitting like the 6th inning, wondering, this isn't working, guys.
Yeah.
Buffoonery from the top on down. I will say this. I will not be surprised if Marte ends up on the IL just because of his history. It's probably one of those things where you don't want to push a quad and then have something worse come out of it. It's kind of like I know hamstrings are like the golden version of that rule. But
obliques, hamstrings, all that shit, and now quads. Like, you don't want to fuck around with them, man.
Yep. And the fact that they flew Khalil Lee out west, it's like I feel like it's still kind of up in the air. And again, today, I just want to thank the baseball gods for just giving us this off day today, because the team needs it, and just as much as the team, I think the fans need it too. Like I don't know if it's because I'm old. It's definitely partially because I'm old, but it's also like the last few years of baseball has been so uneven. This was the first year where these West Coast trips were really, it just hit me. It hit me hard. It felt so important, and it was against good teams. We knew it was a quote unquote gauntlet. I really just needed the off day today. And I think the team did as well, obviously, with the injuries and stuff. Pete gets an extra day to rest a hand. We'll see what happens with Marte. Our boy, the worst part about this all was our sweet baby boy got sent down. Adonis Medina. There was like a soul for a soul. It was it was tough, but it had to be done.
I know. I was bummed about that though, because I had this vision of like, maybe he steps up and becomes this rock in the pen because he's this kid who doesn't fucking care. And he's just like, I'm throwing my fucking, I'm pitching my ass off. But what can you do?
Yep. So, McGill comes back tomorrow as well. He's starting on Friday.
Yes.
Big Drip is back on the bump. Trevor Williams, the best thing about Williams, you just send him back to the bullpen if you want. I mean, or I think Peterson was scheduled for Sunday against Noah.
Well, they have 2 off days. They have today and Monday off, so they could probably rework something. They could probably skip someone's start too and make that decision later on. So that's a possibility.
So I love that. It's McGill, Lorenzen, at least on the probables, which the Angels is still a little wonky. I know their website, Kyle was saying, didn't have anything. Carrasco, Sandoval, and then as of now, Peterson, Syndergaard. So we'll see what happens with that.
That's that Walker Sunday. So
okay.
That's what Buck said.
So McGill, Carrasco, Walker. Look at that, boys. We have our fucking three of our real pitchers back. Yeah. And I think Syndergaard is going to be the one if everyone had to choose one game to win. Again, if we go 2 out of 3, we end this gauntlet 500.
He probably made it a point to schedule himself for the Sunday night game too.
Yeah, that's true.
And also, I woke up to this morning. It was actually yesterday, just to try to, remember and put yourself in the good old days like we are right now. Yesterday, 9 years ago yesterday, the Mets lost 2-1 to the Marlins in 20 innings. Do you remember that game? That game crushed my soul. Matt Harvey went 7 innings pitched with an earned run. Then Brandon Lyon, Bobby Parnell, LaTroy Hawkins, Scott Rice, Greg Burke, and David Ardsma all pitched an inning or a couple outs, no runs. Then Sean Markham came in on relief. 8 innings pitched, 7 Ks with an earned run. The Mets end up losing 2-1 in 20 innings. Homeboy pitched 7 scoreless innings in relief, and they couldn't get him a run. And I went to my Twitter and I searched the term 20 innings and all that, and I found my tweets from that day in I think it was 2013. 0 for 19 with runners in scoring position in one game.
Oh,
I mean, those games that was like, 2013. I said 0 for 19 with runners in scoring position is almost, it's absolutely astounding, almost impossible. And I said hashtag Mets. Like, I'm throwing out hashtag 9 years ago. I don't even know how to use fucking Twitter. But so remember that, because those are the days, those are long gone. We're not playing. First of all, we ain't ever playing 20-inning games again. Thank you, Lord.
Yeah, if anybody ever says like, "Oh, I hate the Manfred man," just point them to that box score and say, "You want to watch that for 6 hours?
You want this?"
I think they're going back to it next year, though.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
They're going back to regular baseball next year.
No.
No.
I'm pretty sure. The only reason they included it this year was like a last minute addition because
they'll make another last minute addition. I don't care.
Make a last minute subtraction.
Because of the spring training start, they were like, nobody's arms are going to be stretched out. We don't want to fuck anyone over if there's extra inning games to start the season. So let's just make the rule all season long. I'm not built for that anymore, boys. No. Like the runner on second base, I'm like, this is a beautiful thing. Maybe you're looking at 13 innings at most.
Dude, maybe Major League Baseball is going back to the old way. I will not be going back to that. I will retire from extra innings. I will actually, as a matter of fact, even keep like my own side record. Like if you got a base hit and it's like, well, that would have scored a run. So actually, technically, we won that game, and the ball game is over. Fuck you. That would be brutal. I think that's actually enough fans either like it or have grown accustomed to being like whatever, as long as it's not in the playoffs. Like who fucking cares? It's it's similar to like hockey where it's like in the playoffs we'll play forever, but right now we got to end this shit. So wait, that was yesterday's today in Mets life. I always file Mike Mayer 22 is great for this shit. Today is the anniversary of Bobby Valentine's mustache, the ejection and fake costume disguise, which really, when you break it down, is the funniest move in baseball history. It is so patently ridiculous to try to sneak. It shows how much he wanted to be there and how good that team was, and he couldn't step away. But the fact that he had an actual, Groucho Marx fucking nose and glass, like where did that come from?
That's a great question. I've never thought of that.
Why did they even have that? Did he send someone to get it? Was there a kid playing in there? He must have been like, fuck, I can't go back out there. And then he like looks in the locker room or something. He's like, wait a minute. There happens to be a fucking disguise. Like, what?
Ooh, this mustache lying around.
Yeah. Do you remember when they used to have the eye black that was stickers instead of the actual eye black? I think that he fashioned it from that. And then he got the darker glasses.
Yeah, I thought it was like the fucking.
That's a hell of a job by him.
You're right. Now that I'm looking at that, it was. So it's just eye black and sunglasses. I thought it was like one of those fucking actual disguises. That's exactly what it is, because you can see, the ones that have the writing on them. There's like a little bit of. It almost looks like a little bit of white writing or something.
That should be a giveaway. That should be a Mets giveaway for the night, where you get the glass nose on them. Everybody in the stadium wearing that. That would be so funny.
We're making a T-shirt. We're putting that on a T-shirt.
Yes,
this picture.
I like that.
I'll do that right now. We're putting that. That's got to be immortalized forever. That is a great
classic series where it's like that and the Hernandez with the cigarette. Bring that one back, and like the Piazza 9/11 home run. Like those would crush.
Yep. This is God. It was just so absurd that he tried it, and the way he was like trying to be like all like inconspicuous. It's just Bobby Valentine was the GOAT. We should get him on the show. I feel like I would love to, I'm sure he's told it a million. Have you guys ever heard him talk about it? Out of all the Mets coverage I've ever watched, though, I don't think I've ever heard him say exactly what we were describing. Like, oh, so I saw the eye black and I tried it on and I, like what went through that? Did it just take one attempt? Did he have to try it a couple times, like tying your tie? I wonder if it was if he ever like at the last minute decided not to do it. I would just love to hear all that.
I think like Bobby V too. I don't think he was even trying to like manage the game from the dugout. I think he was just trying to keep the boys loose, have some fun with it. It was in extra innings. By the way, little like trivia about that all. I went back and watched the video and I saw someone else had tweeted it. It was against the Blue Jays. And it was in like the 12th inning or something.
The 12th inning against the Blue Jays, exactly.
And the reason he got thrown out is because Piazza got like called for like catcher's interference or something because he was outside of the batter's box when he like did a pitch out.
Yep.
Like in a million years, I would have thought it was like a called strike 3 or something like that. And it was the most ridiculous reason to get thrown out of the game. And it leads to this like classic moment. Bobby
so this says after some convincing from Oral Hershiser and Robin Ventura supplying the eye black, he did it. So Oral and Ventura were like, get back out there, Skip. So they were kind of helping out, which is funny to think because they were probably doing it like almost as a joke, if anything. Like he's not actually going to do it, right? He goes out there and then he ends up getting fined $5,000 by the league. And on top of it, let's see, it was an attempt to ease what had been a tense period, and it was the height of the dysfunctional power dispute between Bobby and Steve Phillips. They had an 8-game losing streak. On that, they dismissed the pitching coach and the hitting coach and the bullpen coach. in a passive-aggressive ploy to get Bobby to resign. Man, I don't think I realized this was going on because this was a good team. So they fire everybody except Bobby, being like, you fucking asshole, retire because you don't even have any of your guys. Bobby Valentine stands his ground. They win 15 of the next 18. They're 50-25 by the end of August, and they win the NL wild card. I mean, that is like, I don't remember any of that. That is some man, even the good seasons of the Mets had turmoil where they were trying to squeeze out their coach, lost 8 games straight. We got a guy in a disguise. You think the season's over. 15 out of 18, and you go on to play the Braves, and we all know how that fucking ended.
Buy a goddamn shirt that we haven't even made yet. Yes. That fucking that outfit, that disguise helped spur this thing. And I just looked it up too. The coaches they fired. Randy Neiman was the bullpen coach. The hitting coach was Tom Robson. The pitching coach, though, one of my favorite guys ever, just honestly because I loved his fucking name, Bob Apodaca. That's how we lost Bob Apodaca, was during that goddamn stretch. And I always wondered, the 99 team, I always said it's maybe my favorite team. And I think it's because they did have that low, but then followed by that high. You kind of rock it up after all this dysfunction with the front office. I'm sure the New York tabloids were having a field day with their headlines during all this. I remember the disguise was a big one. So, yeah, we have to get Bobby V on, definitely discuss the old days. I want to get Willie Randolph on, too. My dad was here earlier, and my dad, he, loves Willie Randolph, and we were just he got such a raw deal. Obviously, they had the collapse, but, the fact he's never gotten a chance to manage after getting the 06 Mets to, the last strike of the fucking Game 7 of the NLCS, man. It's crazy that Willie hasn't gotten a chance anywhere since.
Willie Randolph gave my graduation speech. His daughter was in my class.
High school?
At what?
High school?
No, college.
College, okay.
So he gave the speech at Fordham, and I don't remember exactly what the line was, but early on in the speech he said something like, I think he probably talked about adversity and powering through it, and he said something like, there's going to be bumps along the way, and you're going to take your losses. Swing the bat, Carlos, swing the bat. Oh. And the whole audience kind of moaned and groaned but laughed. It wasn't in a malicious way. It was kind of we all know. But even that's shitty though, right? Even that's you shouldn't even be saying that. It was said kind of in a joking tone. Because that was what I graduated in 07. So that was just 1 year removed from that. And little do we know, just a couple months removed or away from, a collapse. So he was probably just kind of goofing around at that point, thinking all was well.
I can only imagine if something like that happened today, had that clip be on Twitter immediately, viral.
Willie Randolph's joking about the Mets losing at a graduation speech. That was 2005. I was down there. I was covering the Mets for spring training for WFUV at Fordham, and his daughter was down there with him, and we knew each other. So, after one of the spring training games, I popped by his house down in Port St. Lucie. Awesome dude, so nice. Invited me in. We had a couple drinks of I was a kid at the time, so no real drinks. But he sat down at the table. We shot the shit for a little bit. Really awesome dude. I would love to have him back on.
He was the last real manager I feel like the Mets have had up until this point. Every manager we've had from Willie Randolph until now, I've been that guy's a dickhead. That guy doesn't know what he's doing.
I think Terry Collins is a respected baseball guy, but I think he was one of the worst goddamn managers ever. I think the people that look the rose-tinted glasses that people look back on the Terry Collins era, okay, he set asses in the jackpot. That's about it. Because the rest of it was infuriating.
He gave the baseball to one of the best young arms in the game, or Bartolo Colon every single day. That's what he did. And I like Terry too. He's he seemed like a good Mets lifer. He's kind of the older version of what I think Luis Rojas would have been if he stayed here.
Yeah.
Right. And the guys liked him and whatever. I think he was brought up because he knew these guys from the minors. But yeah, the rose-colored glasses on Terry Collins is a lot
of revisionist history on him for sure.
And I hate to say it too, but it's true. It's kind of like with Buck. Willie and Buck, they're Yankee guys. They kind of ride the ebbs and the flows with it. And it kind of does in New York, you need those kind of professionalism guys that kind of just don't freak out about everything. And
if you take the miracle run of 2015 out of it, I don't even know if anyone remembers Terry Collins.
No.
He's like a trivia question at the bar.
It's asses in the jackpot and the fact that they made the World Series. That's like honestly it. The rest of it, Terry Ball was, I was screaming and yelling about that dude every single night with his bullpen management.
He was there for the worst of it too. So it was nice to see him like go out on top-ish, you know?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
You know,
I mean, Willie Randolph always got a bad rap because he wanted them to be the Yankees. So it was like they had no facial hair. They had to do things the Yankee way. And it's like, this is the Mets. We have nothing. We've won nothing.
That's why I think Bobby V was perfect for the Mets because it was like, you're not the Yankees. You are this other thing. Have your own identity, you know, all that shit. And shout out to Bobby for, you know, inventing the rap. We all love a good rap.
I've been to his restaurant a few times over there up in Stamford, Connecticut. Got myself a wrap. Some good wings out there, too.
One time I was driving to a bachelor party. We were going up to either Foxwoods or whatever, you know, the Connecticut places. And we stopped, I guess, at his restaurant. I don't know if it was his restaurant or just a restaurant. It must have been his because we were up in Connecticut. And we were just sitting at the bar. And he walked in. And it was like, couldn't have been nicer. Took pictures, the whole nine. But it was one of those things. We were on our way to the bachelor party, and everybody knew how much of a big Mets fan I was, and we all decided that was a good omen. We were like, Bobby Valentine was there. We met him. What are the chances of that? We're going to go there. We're going to put like $1,000 on black. We're going to win all night long. Like, this is such a sign, a symbol from the sports and the gambling gods. Nope. Not at all. Nothing could happen. We all just got like blacked out. It was whatever.
There's a reason why casinos buy, you know, companies like us that are successful, right? By the way, speaking of which, on the Barstool Sportsbook, once Khalil Lee gets in the lineup, which hopefully he never does, as a Khalil Lee guy who was fucking mashing ever since he shortened his bat, I will be placing a bet on him to get a hit every single game until he gets his first hit. So I will put my money where my mouth is. I do think he's changed. I fucking hope he's changed. And maybe I'll be giving a lot of money to our future, you know, overlords and Penn. But I'm feeling good about this Khalil Lee stint.
He did ground out last night. He got in that bat last night. He grounded out while you guys were sleeping. But
contact.
So it's progress.
What's the scoop? What's the deal right now with Nick Plummer? Because I'm hoping that maybe this could be his time to go Shane Spencer on motherfuckers.
I mean, he DH'd last night, but they probably don't want to play him versus too many lefties, and that's what we've been facing. No, although, Clem, who'd you say was the problem for Friday night?
Lorenzen.
He's not a lefty, so Plummer will probably be in if Marte's out.
Get some Nicky Plummer at bat so we can get some Super Mario strength going.
Exactly.
I just feel like also, don't you think when they come home, it's going to be like a welcome home? Like, just back in city. Like,
just be so happy for a 7-10 game.
Yes. Just like the timing of it, the weather, the everything, the field. You're back in your own. You're not in fucking piss-soaked locker rooms like you are in LA. You're in like, you know, your spot, your home, your bed. I just feel like more than ever this West Coast trip, even let's say they sweep and, you know, they come back like, wow, we handled our business. Even still, getting back home is going to be a breath of fresh air. And I know it is for every team, but goddamn, if it's not the thorn in the Mets side every fucking season, it's crazy.
And like you said, Kev, if we had the gauntlet circled, Buck had it circled 3 times, and I'm sure the players did as well to get home from that. And if they get their 500 or whatever, and again, still in first place in the National League, everybody, everything's going to be all right. Your pal Clem said that after they got shut out or got their asses kicked the first 2 games against the Dodgers, everything's going to be all right. The only issue I have with this series is Friday night. We have a fucking Apple TV game. So everyone just go to the radio. It's not going to be a Howie game. Get your Bigelow tea and listen to Wayne or whoever is fucking broadcasting the game. I'm not even going to try Apple TV. I'm not going to try to fire it up and get upset about it. If something crazy happens, I guess I'll scramble. Like, I think I turned on the radio during their last Apple TV game, and like the brawl, like there was a bench clearing brawl as soon as I did it. Yeah. But other than that, no fucking thank you. Just like peace of mind, turn the radio. It's a late game. Everyone kind of just relax in bed and just listen to the game.
I will say, I hate to admit it because it's, you know, the true most diehard fans are watching every single inning, every single pitch, no matter what. But if you don't watch these late games that go south, it doesn't crush your soul, and you are able, at least for me, if you're sick like I am, when you don't watch them every single inning, every single pitch, it won't ruin your week. Like, because I'm able to wake up and just be like, you know what? It was a loss. Teams lose. You lost a series to the Padres, not the end of the world. Had I watched it all, I probably would be like, my God. So I know, it's certainly not, I'm not bragging about not watching by any means, but sometimes you almost load management as a fan, I think is important with this team. Give yourself a break sometimes, because otherwise you start to think that every single failure is the end of the world, and it's just not the truth. Because still in first, are you? Let's take a poll. Are you worried about the Braves?
Not yet.
7 games back.
Yeah. Like part of me, I see the Rocket talking about him. He said, you can go ahead and say it. The Braves are back. They won 6 in a row or 7 in a row.
It's 7 in a row, and they only cut the lead to 7 games.
That's what I'm saying. So from my point of view, because I remember having gone through shit like that when the Mets were chasing the Phillies or whoever. When you go on your own hot streak and you wake up in the morning or at late night, you're checking the scoreboards, your scoreboard watching, and you see fuck, the Mets won again. That win doesn't do shit for us. When you go on your 7-game win streak and you cut it from 10 to 7, that's not the most encouraging feeling. If they start to rattle off 13 in a row, maybe you start to worry a little bit. But what is it? Give me a lead number and a date that would make you nervous. Like the Braves are only 4 games out on XYZ date.
If it's down to 2 by next weekend, but
okay, so it's got to be pretty quick and pretty drastic.
Yeah.
If we have a 4-game lead, you're still comfortable?
Oh yeah. That four that's enough for a series could take. Yes.
So if you're 4s, when do we play them next?
Next month. They don't come back to Citi Field till August, but we go to Atlanta right before the break.
And then what, do we play them a shit ton in September?
Yes, we have 15 games left first them.
Yeah, it's like the anti-Phillies.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot against the Marlins and the Braves.
I thought we had a cupcake schedule in September. Now we got to play the Braves a bunch.
That's why it's going to be a totally different team by then, though. Hopefully, knock on wood.
Well, look, think about it. By the time that we play the Braves, we may have the Grom and Scherzer back.
Right,
think about it that way.
And don't forget, Kevin, the Atlanta Braves last night unveiled their biggest fan that has been working in the shadows for years. Oh, Frank the Tank exposed. Put a big stamp on that. Exposed. I told you guys this guy was a double agent from day one. No Mets fan could be as negative as he is. Says they're gonna, never score a run for the rest of the month and be in 3rd place by the end of the week. I told you this guy was a fake from day one, and there he is, Tomahawk Tank. God damn it,
Tomahawk Tank, Frankie Bravos. That's some damning evidence right there, folks. What more do you need to see?
Thumbs up, too. He's not upset about it. He's giving the thumbs up. He's saying, this is my team. He's laughing. He's smiling.
Fraud, feeble Fleming, the fucking Tomahawk Tank. Unbelievable. Shut the fuck up, Frank.
I just want to say, for all the people that say, the Mets schedule's easy, I just want you to know this. From May 18th to June 20th, the Braves will have not played a team above 500.
I don't even, thank you for pointing that out, because everyone can shut the fuck up. But it's I don't care what they play and what we play. Tomorrow we're going to play against a team that's under 500. Yes. A week ago, they weren't. People were afraid of the Angels a week and a half ago. It all ebbs and flows. The Braves were under 500 a week ago. Now people are talking about they're going to win the division. It's schedules and records. Unless it's September, your record in late August, even still up to early August, your record doesn't really mean shit, because a couple good weeks from you and a couple bad weeks from them, everything flips on its head. So
that's the reason why the trade deadline is when it is, and it's because the teams that are the fringe teams don't know who they are yet until that moment.
Correct.
Yeah, and I just wanted to point out, look, the Braves are doing what they're supposed to, beating up a bunch of shit teams. I have no issue with that. It's just the same people that made fun of the Mets for doing that will point out with the Braves. I'll point out what they're doing.
Definitely. It's that they're doing what they should be doing, the same way the Mets did what they needed to do. And in my opinion, minus this Padres team, they've done what they need to do against the good teams as well. And they made good teams bad. The Phillies, look at the Phillies now. They won 5 straight. They're starting to cook. Part of the problem for them is that they played the Mets 12 fucking times.
Part of me wants the Phillies to get above 500, so that way the Mets record versus above 500 teams looks better.
Yeah,
we're 14-10 versus them now. The Phillies.
But it's honestly though, when it's all said and done, with the Cardinals, with the Phillies, with the Diamondbacks, maybe even if those teams finish strong, but when it's all said and done, their strength of schedule might be through the fucking roof. They just beat the shit out of them early.
there's a lot of teams in the National League that aren't like terrible. The American League is a complete cupcake. It's the Yankees, Astros, maybe the Blue Jays, Rays, and then everyone else.
So well, the Yankees are in
everyone
a
else is
cupcake
bad.
league.
Yeah.
They're fucking. You want to talk
Mickey
about
Mouse.
Soft schedules? The Yankees are playing a bunch of little leaguers night in and night out. Break.
Mickey Mouse. They have a Mickey Mouse schedule and a Mickey Mouse stadium. It's a goddamn joke.
Yep.
But like you said, teams that we're facing, you want to face the teams when they're bad. You don't want to, like, again, 15 in a row is kind of scary. But I got to get the thoughts on this for the pod. The Angels last night changing everyone's batting music to Nickelback in a attempt to try to reverse the juju. Every single player came out to a Nickelback song, and they lost 1-0 to the Red Sox. So it did absolutely nothing for them.
Yo, that is some LOL Mets shit. Those are things that you do. I feel like you do those things when you're winning or when you've lost a couple. Losing 15 in a row is like, guys are losing their jobs over that. People are.
Someone literally lost their job. They fired Joe Madden.
Right. Yeah. Like, Joe Madden's not having, we're not joking about Nickelback. He lost his fucking job. Guys are going to, all other coaches are going to get fucking axed if this keeps up. We're not like goofing around about Nickelback songs right now. Jesus Christ.
I mean,
that was Phil Nevin, right?
Phil Nevin. I mean, after like their 12th straight loss, you have Noah Syndergaard tweeting about like, "Oh, sorry guys, maybe we should turn the fountain off." Like, could you imagine the Mets lost 12 in a row? You have Noah Syndergaard making a joke on Twitter, like
we're talking about the Apple or something like that.
You'd have WFAN, us, and like everyone just fucking ripping him.
That is a loser franchise mentality too.
Yes.
That's probably the owner probably saw the Noah tweet and the music and all that kind of shit, and he was like, something needs to change because this team is going nowhere if they're joking about this shit.
Oh, and one other thing about number 34, when he was a free agent, he was like, the Mets don't have a manager or GM right now, so it made the decision a little easier. Bullshit. It's like, buddy, your manager just got fired on like June 6th.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Like his quote makes sense if it was reality. He was like, this is a make or break time for me, and it is with his money and whatever. And with all that like turmoil or whatever he said, all the uncertainty they had over there. What was the uncertainty that like at that point, the uncertainty was when will this billionaire be taking over? Like, if anything, I would have, even if there was like we pretty much knew we lost Cohen and then we pretty much knew we were getting him back. Like, even if there's a small chance you get to play for Cohen, you stick around because he's going to cut the fucking check.
Yeah. And man, even with that, it's like the Angels haven't really been a recipe for success. They haven't been a model organization themselves. Like, we just forgot about that because always like making an LOL Mets joke. Like, no, the Angels have always been a joke.
Are the poster children for underachieving with guys like Trout and Ohtani, and Moreno's a fucking scumbag loser crybaby. Like, if he went to the Cardinals or somebody that's like, we have our history and we do things the same way forever, fine. But the Angels, like, dude, no, that was a downgrade when it comes to stability and shit like that.
I was going to say, if you want stability, actually, the Angels are pretty underrated when it comes to stability because this is their last 6 seasons in terms of winning percentage. 457, 494, 494, 444, 433, 475, and now they're 474. So Kevin, like, he knows what he's getting. That's his fucking 75 and sunny every single day out in Anaheim. You're getting a 470 something winning percentage, and like with some of the best players in the fucking sport playing for you every single day. It's crazy how consistent they are. Shout out Artie Moreno, you fucking.
You think Trout picked up the phone and was like, "Come on out here, dude. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you're good. You're bad. Doesn't matter. They don't care." They are, in my mind, a non-existent fan base. Now, I know you brought up the Padres fan base. There are a couple motherfuckers in the Padres fan base. I hate to admit that I actually find them funny. Whoever those guys are who did the classic 9/11 troll with Pete.
ISIS. That was another one.
Yeah, the ISIS 9/11 thing was hilarious. Whoever pulled off the cameo. I mean, Pete, you dumb goofball. If you haven't seen it, one of the Padres fans got paid Pete to do a cameo saying, "Hi, I'm Pete Alonso, and your team just lost to the San Diego Padres," which obviously he was a Padres fan waiting for this to happen, and boom, puts it out. How sweet would it have been if we swept them, knowing that guy was like ready to use it and didn't get the fucking chance? But nonetheless, you got goofy old golden retriever Pete doing that. But all that being said, I was very surprised. Like, no Twitter presence in my mentions. And usually I'm, the one mixing it up and fighting with people. I had like one guy, two guys tweeting me being like, the Padres fucked you up or whatever. For the most part, crickets. I thought that the Padres had some sort of presence. I was very underwhelmed with their reaction. I don't know, but maybe you saw more, Clem. I didn't. Here's the camera.
No, a couple people sent me the Pete thing, which I'll play for the people on YouTube.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Pete Alonso with the New York Mets, and if you're watching this, you just lost to the San Diego Padres.
I mean, and the way he does it, like, hey, how's it going? I'm Pete Alonso of the New York Mets. It's like you. And what did he get for that? Does anybody know his?
No idea, because he doesn't do cameos anymore.
Oh, he's not on it anymore. Probably because you know what he probably did? He probably did like hundreds of them, right? And then one day, as he was doing one, his agent or somebody walked in and heard that and was like, "Wait, what are you doing?" And they probably like, "Pete, how many of those have you made?" And he was probably like, "Oh, I don't know, like 300." Pete getting off of all of social media and all that shit was, a wise move when he did it. So I'm sure all these things played into it. But tip your cap. Those are funny plays. But I feel like it's quality, not quantity, when it comes to the Padres fans. There's a couple funny ones out there, but I was very underwhelmed. I thought there was going to be a lot more trash talk. And then, I mean, if it was the other way around, if we won 2 out of 3, I would have been fucking running my mouth. For the most part, they've all been – I haven't seen much.
They go to a place that's a little different. Like the 9/11 shit's like, all right, don't bring them 9/11, but it's like the ISIS stuff, and it's like so stupid, and you're like, all right, and the fact they got Pete upset, you're like, oh, now
That's
right. And they're replying to the Mets tweet about the game, and it's Pete Alonso replying to his own fucking team's account saying he lost to the Padres. I'm sure Phil, you have to appreciate this. You
have to think I'm more mad at Pete than the Padres fans.
Padres fans, fair play. But
they had some with porn stars too this year, right? Didn't they have like a porn star meme going for a while?
That's our thing.
If there's one pervert fan base, it's us. Goddammit, so back the fuck off. They're a good team. I was not as scared of them as the Dodgers, but they're the ones who end up taking the series. But like, also, I gotta be honest. I watched every second of the Dodgers game. This Padres one, I didn't, and I'm not gonna pretend I did when I didn't. So,
because they kicked our ass in our last 2 games. That's all that happened. Like, you said,
certain games that you just got to punt. And so, it is what it is.
It was the best thing that could have happened after the Dodgers series. I think we all needed a fucking break after those late nights, and then that Sunday game, which like took a shit ton out of us. And then obviously Monday it felt fun when they won, but then the last 2 was over so early. It was like you kind of just watch in the background or fall asleep during it. It was the best thing. This is a huge off day for us.
As long as everyone's happy, healthy. As long as everyone's healthy, I'm happy.
I had to bring this one up to you guys here. This is something I've had in the mailbag for a little bit. So we're gonna have a mailbag potentially. If we ever get some time in the show, we obviously have a million things to cover with this crazy ass team. But we gotta believe pod@gmail.com. If you guys ever want to send in any emails or podcast things, questions for the pod. Nick sent this one a few weeks ago, and it's been just lingering there. And I feel like we may have to just make a ruling on this sooner rather than later if we get into a little bit of a skid here. He goes, I need another ruling from the pod. I've started seeing a new girl. I've slept over her place twice. Those nights have been the nights the Mets came back against the Cardinals and the Phillies. So he's not even asking, does he go back? He's saying, do I lock this down before the World Series? Just trying to pop the question on her. I think Nick was the one who he might have one of the people that like stayed at the place during one of the comebacks. Remember, like, I think it was one of the, the guy who was eating his entire meal at the restaurant, watching the game and stuff like that.
He's picking up the pizza for his family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what do we think here? Like, if you're dating a girl with a little bit of magic in her, right? I think you got to kind of at least just see where things go. And if we're talking playoffs,
I would say 2 times is, I mean, they're 2 of the most improbable comebacks. So it's a small sample size, but 2 of the things that are absolutely patently ridiculous. I think this is similar to the Kyle Walking situation. You need a little bit more of a sample. I think you need to hang out with her on a game day or game night. I would say 2 more times. Give it 4. And if you're like 4-0 with 2 incredible comebacks and 2 other, just sound beatdowns, if everything else is all good, she's hot, the sex is good, fun, whatever, ride that wave for a little while. Like, why not? You want to hook up with somebody, you might as well do it with someone that might have a little bit of Mets magic in them, right?
Even if she's not any of those things, still write it out. Just do it for the fucking fan base.
Do it for the team.
Goddamn World Series.
Fucking boys, okay?
Also, you're sleeping over this girl's house, and she's letting you sit there until what? 12:30 at night watching the Met game before, and then what? Then you have some victory sex afterwards. That's pretty solid.
That's where I thought the question was going to go. I'll tell you what, one of the most difficult things in my life throughout all of it, from when I was young to when I was older, balancing relationships and your fandom in baseball, as silly as it sounds, is one of the more difficult things for like a guy to do, or a girl. But like when you got a girl who likes to watch TV together and eat dinner together, and she wants to watch her stuff, and she's not cool with you being on your phone or whatever it may be, and you've got 7 months of baseball every single night to watch, you got to find somebody who's cool with that. Because it's funny, every time I've seen a couple guys start to date girls who are really not sports literate, and they're like, wait, they're on again tonight? And like, oh, yeah, no, they're on like 6 nights a week. This is not football. This is not even basketball. The question, are they on tonight? The answer is like 95% of the next 6 months is going to be yes. So buckle up, babe. Thank God for tablets and 2 screens now. It's a lot easier to have your kids watching while you're over here, or you're listening or whatever. But back in the day, it was like, I mean, I've legitimately done the fucking rom-com sitcom trope. I've had like a little radio earpiece in at like fancy events and shit. Like I've done that. That's how ridiculous it's gotten. Where people are you listening to something? I don't know what you're talking about. So, I'm sure there are plenty of guys out there dealing with that. Got to pick who you married to, bro. You married to the game?
Or say hypothetically you're dating someone that you live with and he's coming in sweaty at fucking 1 a.m. because he just ran. How much did you run last night, Kyle, during that fucking dog shit game?
11.13 miles.
And how are we feeling this morning?
Okay, so I got back, I chugged 1 bottle of water and I was exhausted, so I fell asleep. And then when I woke up in the morning, my head was pounding because I was so dehydrated, but I was also dead tired. So I was texting Clem, I got a coffee, which is not what you have when you're dehydrated.
Idiot.
It's worked its way down to my neck. My neck is stiff as hell. But yeah, I got back. It's so bad to the point that like my shorts are dripping. So like, obviously I got to jump in the shower. It's a whole fucking production before I could even go to sleep. Yeah, she's good with it. Originally last season when I was pitching this to you guys, I was like, yeah, like I could probably do every game. Like, I don't think it would be like too stressful. First of all, that was wrong. But second of all, I just like casually mentioned it to my girlfriend and she was like, yeah, that's not happening. Yeah, fair point. I wouldn't see you. So yeah, that makes sense.
I really thought I would join in a few times. And I still think I will. I still think I'm gonna a couple times. Nick's over here cackling at me. No fucking shot. But I intend to try at least once or twice. Problem is I don't have a fucking treadmill. And at first I thought I was going to walk outside. But I'm like, I can't be walking till like midnight on some of these games. It's weird.
It has to be a day game. Has to be a day game for like an outside walk, which I think we
the perfect setup that it's in the building and that nobody's like everyone's old, so nobody's bothering me either.
Right.
And you have a girl that'll let you do it, especially during the day if everyone's working during the day, so it's not a problem. The night games is a little different. So I think the answer to Nick is got to keep it going. And if if magic keeps happening and it's like, we were over the other night and we came back, scored 5 against the Brewers in the 9th, and Hader blew the save. At that point, I'm sure we have at least one listener who's a jeweler. And we start pricing out some rings, maybe hooking up a little Medi discount here. If the Mets win the World Series, this ring just might end up in your mailbox one day, kind of a thing. I think you got to keep it going, Nick. That's kind of the long answer. Don't do it as much as for you or for her, but do it for all of us.
Do it for me.
Family. This is a Mets therapy session, like Kev said. We're licking our wounds right now. So again, if you want to write into any mailbag, we got to believe pod@gmail.com. I mean, if you send in DMs to us, I could put him in the thing and we'll put him on the show if need be. But again, I don't want like Nick to stop calling her. He hasn't heard anything from us. And, we let a World Series walk out the door, go see about the girl if you gotta. So what do we think here, boys? Going into Anaheim, I feel like 2 out of 3, anything less than 2 out of 3 is going to feel just like a real kick in the dick, unless they kick the shit out of Noah on Sunday night. Then it'll feel all right.
You know what this series is reminding me of? When last year we had to face the Diamondbacks, who lost 15 in a row in early June, and we took 2 out of 3 versus them. It's like, I think we'll win this series, but we may be a team that ends up giving the Angels their first win in like 2 weeks, and it's going to feel like shit. Even though and
the fans will get all upset about it. I would really prefer to win tonight, because if we start off by breaking their streak, you can count on, Tomahawk Tank and the company to be like,
an Apple TV game versus a team who lost 15 in a row, that's Frank's World Series. Like,
absolutely.
It's a punky game. It's Frank's World Series game 1. That's his World Series game 2.
Complain about absolutely fucking everything. I would love to win tonight or tomorrow, first game. Would you sign for losing 2 out of 3, but the Noah game, we put up an 8th spot in the first inning. He gets pulled like 2/3 of an inning. We batted around. Lindor hits 2 home runs in the inning.
Does he cry?
He doesn't cry, but he does that Noah face. That
a meme. He makes a meme of himself.
Yes, he makes a meme. He takes his hat off, and he's got all his balding hair on top, and he's like,
sad puss Noah.
If the Braves find a way to split versus the Pirates, I think I would take that.
Yeah, I don't want to lose any ground. We could agree. Hey, Pirates, lose a couple games this weekend so we can embarrass him. I'll sign for that. Otherwise, I'm taking the wins. But man, would that be nice to just rock him, and then we'll put up some snarky fucking posts with him. This is a real game, or whatever the fuck we say.
That's exactly it. You kill his trolling for the rest of the season at least, if not longer. And I'm sure the whatever fucking New York tabloids are still in business, they'll have some good headlines with Noah and his meme.
I mean, the way the Angels are trending, he could be traded at the deadline for all we know.
Yeah, he might get him back.
Come on down, Noah.
That'd be good relief arm. I'll take him as a relief arm.
Imagine if Noah Syndergaard came back to the Mets after all this. Holy shit. What if imagine if Conforto got healthy and
came back in September?
How weird would that be? He's just gone.
I was looking at my fantasy baseball league. He's 38% owned, and does everyone know his shoulder looks like fucking spaghetti right now?
He's not even signed.
Yeah, he's not even on a team.
Have we heard anything about did he get surgery? Is he recovering?
He's recovering. He maybe could come back in September.
He just got Thanos snapped.
I think nobody's gonna sign him until after the draft, so they didn't give up the pick. Because he screwed us out. He screwed us out of getting a 2nd round pick. So
right.
And can you trust anything Boris says right now? Anyway, he'd say Conforto is hitting 500-foot bombs. I wouldn't believe a fucking word that comes out of it. I could see the video. I wouldn't believe it because I'd be like, you got someone to doctor this shit with all the money.
They can show him in a sling. I'll be like, he's in the best shape of his life.
Yeah,
exactly. So it sounds like everyone wants 2 out of 3 over the Noah fucking destruction. Now 2 out of 3 or Noah shoves against us. Right? It's like, do you want to have Noah as that last?
Yeah. So you get 1 out of 3, but you annihilate Noah, or 2 out of 3, and the one loss is he goes 7 innings, 10 Ks, no runs.
I really want to win the series, but even in that scenario, we can say, "Oh, Noah won his World Series. Now he'll have a World Series hangover." It's like that's his biggest moment of his career.
Yeah,
fucking no.
I mean, you know what? I put up a poll the other day because Andy Martino is writing old articles about Baez, and people are still talking about fucking Aaron Loop and all that. And I said, do you care about the performance of Kalenic and Loop? And I think it was 70% no. There's still a good chunk of people said yes. But I left Syndergaard off because I think it's valid to keep an eye on him because he's kind of an asshole. And he runs his mouth a little bit.
He was an asshole and he was here for 7 years. Loop was here for 1 year. Kalenic was literally a minor league prospect for a year.
Right.
So
but Noah also left a little bit unceremoniously, and so I think it's okay to root against him a little bit and have some fun with it and talk shit. So I don't mind that. But at the same time, we are on to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
I'm not sacrificing a series for trying to, just rub his face in it. So give me that 2 out of 3. And if the one game is the one he beats, go ahead, go back to, get back to LA where you're in irrelevance when you fucking end up 10 games under, and we'll keep doing our thing. See you later, pal.
All right, fine. I'll just say the opposite. Fuck it, give it to me. Give me the one win. I don't want to take that. I don't want to hear him trolling us. It's going to drive us crazy. Monday's an off day. It'll be a win on Sunday, so it'll be like a win going into the next series. Give me that fucking 1 of 3. And
contrarian Clem, you motherfucker.
I got to take the other side. I can't have us all fucking just bleeding for wins. That's the reason you fucking get all these wins in the beginning of the year and you get out to that big league. So you can kind of just pick and choose. Have some fun. Fuck Noah.
You play to win the game.
But no matter what happens this weekend, we sweep the Angels sweep us. We have that off day Monday, and everything's going to be fine until then. So no matter what, good or bad or ugly, gotta believe.